The second thing I wanted to talk about was innovation and how important the private sector is. Again, a very simple thought exercise to begin the conversation. Just think about some of the products and innovations that we take for granted today that have dramatically extended and enriched human life. Things like antibiotics, which doubled human life expectancy just over the last 100 years alone, and other medicines. Think about the refrigerator, the automobile, mobile phones and the internet, agriculture. All of these things are provided by the efforts of individual inventors, entrepreneurs, farmers, the private sector. They're not provided by government. Now, these individuals and these organizations earn money from the value that they've added in society. They pay some of that money as taxes to the government and thereby fund the government. And then governments provide an enabling environment, and in some cases even fund the fundamental research and development that creates a virtuous cycle within the private sector and the public sector. We've also seen over the last 100 years that any society that suppresses its private sector quickly finds itself in very difficult economic conditions. In fact, we've experienced this in Ghana. We've had parts of our history in my lifetime. The private sector came under tremendous pressure from the government, and our per capita income dropped. People were hungry as farms collapsed, businesses collapsed. The societies that have the most innovation in the private sectors also have the lowest unemployment rates, they have the highest GDP, and they have the strongest governments. It is critically important that we enable the private sector, that we enable innovation in the private sector. So again, what role can universities play in achieving that? The first and most obvious one, of course, is that we educate people. And we need to educate them to have an entrepreneurial mind. And by that I mean, we need to educate people to have curiosity, to have creativity, the ability to search for multiple solutions to problems, and to explore different solutions to problems. In fact, one could argue that anybody who only sees one solution to a problem does not fully understand the problem. If you truly understand the problem, you will come up with multiple solutions that are viable. We need to educate people who have the courage to take risks, who have the courage to act, and to persist through difficulty. That is the business of universities. The second is research and development. Now, of course, we need strong research, we need strong development, and I would say that in the context of Ghana, it would be wise to lean towards the development part of that equation. Of the R&D equation, we should do more D than R. Why do I say this? Well, there's already a lot of fundamental research that has been done in the world over the years. And we can borrow from that fundamental research, apply it to our own circumstance, and really focus on development, and then get to fundamental research later on. So given our context, that would be, I think, a wise thing for us to do. The second thing around research is that I think that it would be wise for us to focus on a few key areas and put our entire weight behind those few areas. The question is, how do you select what areas to focus on? This is a very important question. And I would like to suggest a few criteria that we might consider in making that decision. One is go to industry and understand what their needs are. What are the most pressing needs today? What are the most pressing needs that they foresee for themselves in the next 10 years or 20 years? And let's, as universities, focus our attention around solving those problems for industry. The second is that we should consider the opportunities that come from the fourth industrial revolution. And by this, I mean that the world is going through a sea change. It's a dramatic shift in the technologies that are coming in the world. And when you have such a shift happening, it is an opportunity for everybody to literally be starting from an even playing field. So looking at the technologies of the fourth in the Industrial Revolution, and focusing on those areas as things that we pay attention to.